Gardeners by Trade here today. We're going to show you how to sharpen a chainsaw with a 2-in-1 tool. Make sure you like our channel and subscribe to it, which is going to help with our algorithms and further videos. Alrighty, let's get started. I'll just quickly give you a rundown on what we're doing. We're using a Stihl. It's called a 2-in-1, this is the actual tool. I've taken it out of its packaging. It's really beneficial for people who have a chainsaw at home. That's probably the best way to do it. Your chainsaw needs sharpening. It's a safety element. I'm a bit of a safety Sam when I use a chainsaw. I always make sure that I wear gloves and my glasses and a pair of chaps. But one of the things you need to make sure of is your chainsaw is, or your chain on your chainsaw is very sharp. If it's running blunt, you have more chance of doing more damage to the chainsaw. Oh, and if you're really blunt, it'll be burning your wood and stuff like that as well. And you can feel it. You'll actually feel almost like the drag on the chainsaw. Almost like you feel like you've got to cut with a chainsaw, which you don't need to do. Alrighty. So the tool you need to, I got mine from a Stihl saw. Ours is 4mm, which is your gap, and it's a 3/8, which is your chain. So if you're not sure, quite often they'll be written on the bar on your chainsaw what size your chain is, and they'll be able to help you out. But if you're not sure, take the chain in with you into a Stihl rep and they'll be able to help you out. All right, we'll have a look at the tool. So it's in the Stihl colours, which has the orange, which is almost like a generic colour for Stihl. You'll notice all their chainsaws are that colour, all their boxes and stuff like that. Stihl's a good product in my mind. I find them quite easy, and I think this product's great. I'll just give you a bit of a look at it. So you've got your file, and this will clean your guide down. It has an arrow which will point, so that will be the way it goes. It also has these guides here which will give you the angle. So this one will flip it. Right, so we know the arrow is going towards me, but your angle is your angle you want the file sitting in. So that's how it'll be. So what you're actually sharpening is what's called your cutter, which is this bit. So you've got your cutter, and that's the bit you want sharp. Take note, they go in different directions. So you'll only be doing every second cutter in one direction, and then you'll flip this around like that, and then you'll do the opposite ones. To get you started, the best way to do it is get yourself a texter or a Sharpie and mark the top of one, just like that. It's nice and simple. It's not going to do it any harm. And then as you move it and sharpen it, that's where you work your way back to. So you start with that one and you finish with the one before it. The other thing you also got to make sure of is that you've taken your chain brake off. So it's on at the moment. You see the chain won't move. It's always best to use something else, not your hand if you can, but you'll notice that's locked. Take your chain brake off and it moves. And you can just use this to move it along with. It's nice and easy. You'll notice all I've done, I've put some packing under the actual chain motor to keep this level. So you sort of want it square with the table. And make sure that your chain's not on. I've only got a tiny little portable vise, but it does the trick for what I need it to do, and I just need it to support this so the bar doesn't move and I get a nice even sharp. Alrighty, so the arrow is going towards me, so I will sit it over there. You'll notice that these lines are running in line with the chain bar, with the bar, which I was right on what I said, and because the arrow is pointing towards me, the pressure will come towards me, so you'll hear it. Right, you can just push it back, but don't have any pressure. You don't want to run the file back against it. And then you do it again, maybe 3 times. Yep, right, then we just move it along to the second. So you don't do the next one, you'll do the second one because it's facing here. You'll notice the cutter on that one's facing in the other direction. So that's, we know we're working towards us on these ones. So you sit your file in it, and again, you just pull it towards you. You can hear it, and you'll see a little bit of debris come off it. And away you go. It's nice and easy, and there's no pressure. From probably a chick's point of view, It's a nice simple way of doing it, but I think it just works really well for your home gardener to be able to do it. Just make sure you keep your angle, and you just need to do 3. Move it along. We've only got a small chain. I think if I remember correctly, there's probably only about 56 links, I think, at a guess. So in theory, you're doing 28 each way. See how quick I did my maths in my head then? There's nothing like using a chain that's nice and clean and, well, not a chain, but a chainsaw that's nice and clean and sharp when you cut your wood. Because as you know, green wood's easy to cut. A chainsaw, you know, it doesn't have to be ridiculous, but dead wood, that's another story. That'll burn through your chain. So these are good just to be able to have in your toolbox or in your car or something like that if you're out camping or just collecting some firewood. That's nice and easy to give a quick sharpen. And we're back to the start. Right, so now we do the opposites. So I know I'm going to mark my next one, which is in the opposite direction. So it's the angle I'm talking about to your direction. So it's heading off that way. Give it another mark. So I've got my angle, so you'll see it there. Arrow's pushing away from me. Yeah. So, and you just slide it through. 1, 2, 3. Move her on. And it's quite efficient, I think. 1, 2, 3. What it also does, which I haven't told you, is you've got your square file, which will work on your, this is like your height gauge. So this is why it's called a 2-in-1. So the round file sharpens your cutter and the flat file levels it off. So it works smooth. And it's nice, yeah, there's no effort required. It literally is nice and easy. As I make it look hard.
How old is this chain?
The chain bar, the chainsaw it probably have a good 15 years in it, I'd say. I've owned it. I inherited it, so I've probably had it. Let's go with 4 years, and I've only used it maybe a dozen times. But cut some decent wood, and as I say, I've cut up some dead stuff, which always works on your chain a bit more. I'm not sure what the average on a chain sort of is, because it comes down to what you're cutting, the time you're using it. Always keep and how well you look after your stuff. One of the things with chainsaws is keeping them out of dirt. So as soon as you cut, this hasn't been sharpened for a long time, just so you know, so it is a bit rough through. But it'll be better once it's done. It's just keeping your angle. It's not like you need to push on it. Just keep your angle. Push with a bit of pressure, not like a massive amount of pressure, just a little bit of pressure. You'll feel it. You can feel it sharpening and doing everything it's supposed to do. Almost at the end. This is the last one. Alright, so that's our little chainsaw sharpened. Ain't she pretty? It is important to make sure your chainsaw's in good nick, and the most important part obviously is the chain, because that's the sharpest bit, but it's also the bit that does the most work and makes your life easier. This little thing is a cracker. I think it makes life easier. And it takes out, I don't know if you've used one where you've had to file through it, make sure your angle's right, and then you have to use the one with the guide on it, and you sit that on top and you go through and you file it off. This is 2-in-1. It cuts your work in half. And it's nice and easy, and it's replaceable. You know, once you wear through your files, you just, as I showed earlier, you just pull that out, replace it and put it back in. So it'll also have all your measurements on it. So when you go in, if you've lost your packaging, this will still have all your information on it. So that just slides in. It's got a little hole there it slides into. You just push it in and close it. It really is a simple little tool. Makes life easy. Makes cutting wood pleasurable. So, but yeah, always keep your chainsaw clean and in a dry, clean area. And same with this. I'd recommend, if you can, keep the packaging, because it's just plastic. But it will protect your file. And stop getting grease and all your bar oil and stuff like that. It'll just help keep it clean. So, yeah. There we go. Still for you and still for me. Anywho, that's Gardeners by Trade. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to us. And if you've got any questions about this, or have a look at any of our other videos, ask a question, we'll be there to answer them. Cheers, have a good day. Bye.